Latest on President Trump considering running for a third term, an idea that would require violating the Constitution's term limits for presidents. Let's go back to our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce. Good morning again, Mary.
Good morning again, Michael. Well, this would defy the Constitution, but President Trump this morning says he is considering his options to serve another term in the White House. In a phone interview with NBC, Trump saying, quote, there are methods which you could do it, including possibly urging his vice president, J.D. Vance, to run and then cede power back to Trump. The president saying that's one method, but there are others too. Now, when asked to clarify, Trump doubling down, saying, I'm not joking, but then adding it is far too early to think about it. And overnight on Air Force One, the president declined to answer when asked point blank if he is planning to leave office in 2029. Now, this is an idea that Trump and his allies have publicly been toying with for months, but a third term, of course, would violate the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution, which says, quote, no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. Now, he could, of course, try to amend the Constitution, but that is a very tall order.
Two-thirds of the state.
Even that vice presidential idea would violate the Constitution. The 12th Amendment to the Constitution says that no one can run for vice president who's ineligible to run for president.
Careful, George. You might have to apologize again.
Questions about how the president would practically try to do this. But again, this is an idea that he simply is not willing to let go of.
Well, suffering succotash, Michael. Looks like we're headed towards a dictatorship. Trump is the new Adolf. Welcome to the Chud Report. I'm your host, MJ. Let's get into today's episode. If you end up liking it, hit that like, hit that subscribe. The media, these people right here, the fourth estate is pathetic. If you're going to have to report on a president saying he's going to be a dictator, journalism 101, this isn't the way how to do it. Suffering succotash here. And it would actually be more beneficial to have no media than this sane-washing BS right here.
You said you were not joking about a third term, about possibly wanting a third term. Does that mean you're not planning to leave office on January 20th?
I'm not looking at that, but I'll tell you, I have had more people ask me to have a third term, which is in a way it's the fourth term, because the other election, the 2020 election was totally rigged. So it's actually sort of a fourth term in a certain way. I just don't want the credit for the second, because Biden was so bad, he did such a bad job. And I think that's one of the reasons that I'm popular, if you want to know the truth. I think I'm popular because we've done a great job. I think we've had the best almost 100 days of any president. And most people are saying that. And it's an honor. We're bringing back our country. We're respected as a country again. And we're strongly respected. And people are amazed. I was with some very important people today, and they said that they've never seen a turnaround of a country as fast as this.
They've never seen a turnaround of a country as fast as this. And he's right. Because he's basically said to us as a country, turn around, put your face in the pillow and take it. A little technique he learned on Epstein Island. And also, trust funder here, C- student. I mean, the first 100 days, that's a little bit grading on a curve. Because every time a Democrat gets in after a Republican, at least in my lifetime, the first 100 days are an absolute cleanup of the previous 8 years.
We have nobody coming in to our country. It's almost shut down.
Are you happy about that?
They've never seen anything like this.
Nobody wants to come into our country anymore. It's a complete shutdown. Maybe because of stuff like this. I mean, do you want to come to this country? Where people in hoods who don't identify themselves as cop, people who are so ashamed, cops who are so ashamed of what they're doing, they wear masks over their face. Nobody wants to come here anymore. Florida takes 1/3 of its budget from the federal government each year. That's my tax dollars. That's your tax dollars. We basically keep Florida alive as taxpayers into the federal system. The rest of their money, a big chunk of their money comes from tourism, right? Nobody wants to come here anymore. This 80-year-old big boy, just destroyed that Air Force One toilet. Comes out, lays some more turds on the press. They're literally asking him, are you going to try to stay past your term? Something that's forbidden by the Constitution. Important people I'm not going to tell you who they are, but I just had a meeting with them. They all clapped. They all had tears in their eyes. They said, no one wants to come to America anymore. So we want you to stay president of the United States. And if I'm a reporter asking him these questions, what a case for the oligarchy he's pushing. He's literally saying important people, not you, not me, not the voters of this country, not even the representatives of this country. He said important people have told me they want me to stay in power. And that's why I'm not counting out pushing for a third term.
At an appropriate precedent limits a president to 2 terms. Is it your understanding that they have to be?
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just telling you, I have had more people say, please run again. They said, we have a long way to go before we even think about that. But I've had a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, do you think that's an appropriate precedent?
It's his master.
Even if it wasn't you in this position, to see a president serve a 3rd term?
I don't want to talk about a 3rd term now because no matter how you look at it, we got a long time to go. We have a long time. You know, we have almost 4 years to go. And that's a long time.
What people?
But despite that, so many people are saying, you've
ask
got to
him,
run
and
again.
he'll tell you it's the oligarchs. If you just do a follow-up question, lady on Air Force One, the media sane washing, Michael Shanahan, if you just ask him what people, you will learn it's the billionaire class. It's the oligarch class. That's who wants to keep him there. If it was normal people coming up to him with tears in their eyes, saying, sir, you've totally stripped away my retirement. You've crashed out my 401k. You've systematically destroyed all this. Sir, why would you do it? Can you please leave now and not serve out the rest of the 3.5 years? But I'm fine. I'm a Republican farmer. I'm fine.
Any exemptions for farmers being considered for these tariffs?
No exemptions at this time.
Sorry, Bubba. No exemptions for you either. They come up to me and say, this is the greatest turnaround ever, sir. This is the greatest economy ever.
I mean, it's not Trump's economy until he gets his whole package through. That's the deal. First quarter is certainly not his economy. And Bidenflation is also not his economy. Anyway, I got to jump.
I got to go jump off a building. You have to be a special kind of touched. You have to be a special kind of stupid. I'm sorry, you really do. You have to be special in the head to be watching. So that's you, right? You're a Fox News viewer. You just watch Trump on the plane saying, it's the greatest 100 days ever out of anything that's ever happened. Best 100 days. Then you have Larry Kudlow come on and apologize for the last 100 days. It's not actually Trump. And then just to round it off.
Well, you heard Lucas's reporting there where the president says he doesn't care if the prices go up on U.S. cars. So what's the message to the U.S. consumer?
Come on, convict.
The message is that tariffs are tax cuts, tariffs are jobs, tariffs are national security, tariffs are great for America, tariffs will make America great again.
Tariffs are your Canadian girlfriend that's totally real. Tariffs are the fairy that tucks Republicans in at night. Tariffs are everything you need them to be. I'm sure if you talk to a Republican fascist long enough, they've referenced 1984, right? And they're like, oh, the book. And they're like, what? There's a book? And then you're like, oh, the movie? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, but they've referenced it. But there's nothing more 1984 than this guy. You know, like I said, the gaslight is off. Your head is in the oven. Your brain is cooked. Tariffs are actually great. It's why the economy looks like this. It's why my 401k has lost 10% of its worth, because tariffs are everything. The worst thing we ever did was give dumb people these. Give dumb people phones, right? Because back in the day, if you were dumb, you'd have to go to Kinko's and print out a bunch of brochures of all the dumb stuff you were thinking. Then you'd have to go out on the street and hope another dumb person grabbed your thing, and then somehow they'd get a little dumber by reading your dumb stuff. Now, if you're dumb, you know, if you're cat turd, you just tweet it out. Goes right into the other person's feed, the other dumb person. They read it, get a little dumber, add their own dumb. Anyway, you get where I'm going. You just get a landfill, and a landful of just dumb people getting dumber by the second. If you are on the right in your media, if you are the right, you're a podcaster, you don't even need to try. Like, what's the purpose of even trying? These people are so stupid, they will just nod at you. As long as you hit the right vibe, right? They said that. This is a single day. Trump says, best 100 days ever. Next guy, Larry Kudrow, says, don't blame Trump for any of it. It's not his fault. And then the last guy tells you, tariffs are the greatest thing ever. Even though my 401k has sunk by like 10%. You guys ever see these Ben Garrison political cartoons? As forementioned, the Chuds are not the brightest people. So he has to actually write everything, right? Trump's hitting him with lawsuits. But Biden's election fraud is flying over his head. And he has to write Trump the counterpuncher to show you that Trump is counterpunching that. Because you might have missed that. And then Trump says, I saw that one coming, Joe. In case you didn't know, he had to actually write him saying that. The people who consume this kind of media. And judging by Trump's body, I'm pretty sure this guy, Ben Garrison, drew him with his boner out in the woods right here, living like the Unabomber, drawing fan art for fascists. I show you that because this is my Ben Garrison for this episode right here. You see, I labeled the sky for any Trump people out there, so you know that's the sky. I labeled Donald Trump as a fat, bloated whale. You could call him a lame duck, but his features are more whale-like, unless you're going by that last picture. Elon Musk crying in the corner. A drunk and a skunk over there riding on a bomb while talking to each other. Hey, I'm pretty good. I should take over for Ben Garrison. And they're on an island because their ideas are unpopular. Elon Musk has been desperately cutting government programs. And a Chud will tell you, oh yeah, it's because he's got rid of $80 trillion in spending or whatever, right? They put it up on a website of all the stuff that they got rid of, all the spending. And then news organizations started researching what they were saying, so Elon had to take that website down because listen to this, guys, they were lying to you. But what they're doing is they're making room for these historical tax breaks for the oligarch class that are coming in. And some people, not you, Chud, but some people are finally catching on to that. And even though most Democrats in Congress can't find their ass from a hole in the ground, if it continues this way, which it definitely will be, Project 2025 is the roadmap, it could be a potential bloodbath. It will be a bloodbath for Republicans. This is not a poll episode, and I'm not giving you any opinions on it. This is all from the Republican Party. Elise Stefanik. They kicked her out. Guess how much she won her district by? She's not going to be in the cabinet now. She has to stay in her district because they are scared they will lose a 20-plus district. Trump won it by 20 points. And this woman's so pathetic, definitely not a leader. She begged Trump to please send her to the UN job, to keep her in the cabinet. We'll figure it out. Just don't get rid of me. Pathetic. The White House had been alarmed by internal polling. Her upstate New York district, while GOP leaning, Trump won it by 20 points, would still hold a risky special election. With a very tight majority, I don't want to chance anyone else running for Elise's seat, Trump wrote, essentially admitting even solid Republican districts aren't safe right now. Stefanik had already shed her committee assignments. She already packed and staff in anticipation of the UN job and now must awkwardly return to the House ranks. The walk of shame from this lady. That's her Twitter picture, but this is what she actually looks like. Looking at that piece of Snickers left in Mike Johnson's teeth. Mike Johnson faces the task of reintegrating her and reassuring colleagues spooked by the idea that even a Trump 20 seat could be lost. The Democrats, meanwhile, mocked the GOP's panic. Republicans knew they were on track to lose the special election because of their deeply unpopular, disastrous agenda, said one Democratic campaign official. They didn't want to be named. Oh my God. The Democratic Party is such pussies. They're so scared they can't even face voters at the polls, she added, but please don't print my name. Recent data suggests MAGA brand is faltering with the broader public. A CNN poll in March showed the Republican Party's favorability at just 29%, an all-time low in over 3 decades of polling. Just hold on. It could go lower. By contrast, and we did an episode on this, a solid majority, 57% of Americans want the Democratic Party to fight the GOP's agenda instead of going along with it. Chuck Schumer, are you paying attention? This is the party that's been yelling at you that they have a mandate to dismantle our democratic republic, right? Because they won by 1%. You would think a party with a mandate would not be scared of a 20-plus Trump seat. Is it a conspiracy channel? But could it be, Trump's words, not mine, that Elon fixed the machines in Pennsylvania? Not a conspiracy channel. That Elon gave $1 million to people leading up to the election every single day if they promise to vote for Trump. How much has Elon given to charity, you ask, over the last 20 years? Taking $30 billion from the government. How much has he gave back to charity? Well, that number would be zero. How much was he giving to Trump? $300 million, and on top of it, $1 million a day to anyone that was promising to vote for him. A mandate of 1% with, whatever this was. This isn't a conspiracy channel. These two are daddy's money's kids. We all know the type of person. We all grew up around them. And I expect both of them to be detached because they've never had any struggle in their whole life, right? I expect Trump to think he's the greatest leader there's ever been in America, in the world, in the universe. I expect Elon Musk to think he's Iron Man, that he's the smartest man alive. But what's particularly pathetic to me, and this is a theme that's emerged from this, second Trump term on this channel, but it's the blue-collar workers, right? That still embrace this. Because of what? A culture war from 5 years ago? And I've said it too much, but I'm from a small coal mining town. All blue-collar workers, right? And if the boss of a company brought in his kid, said he's going to be working here, little Dottie's going to be working at this company, and here's his friend. Here's his rich friend who's also a ketamine addict. They're going to be working here for 2 to 3 months, so be nice to them. And then they burn that company down. They sever all relationships to that company. They make that company a pariah. They make that company a Cybertruck. When those people from my town aren't detached about it because of the propaganda that comes from this, they understand it, right? They're mad about it. They'd be pissed if that happened. They would hate these people.
My companies are suffering because I'm in the government. You just pointed that out a moment ago.
Right.
Do you think it helps sales if dealerships are being firebombed? Of course not. And Tesla customers are being intimidated all over the country and all over Europe. Mm-hmm. Does that help Tesla? I mean, you had Tim Waltz, who's a huge jerk, running around on stage with the Tesla stock price where the stock price had gone in half, and he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do. What a creep. What a jerk. Like, who derives joy from that? And
I derive joy from that, you pussy ass bitch. Who derives joy from that? $300 billion. He injected himself into a campaign. He's gutting Social Security. He gutted the consumer protection agencies. He's gutting out the pillars of our democracy. He's downloading all our personal information with his little 20-year-old lackeys, the hit squad. He's downloading all. And then Mr. Free Speech over here is making Reddit take down any mention of it, right? The free speech platform. He's uploading all our data so AI can sift through and make enemies lists. He's fired 1 million people. And he goes on to mainstream media, right? The #1 news cable network. They'll tell you they're mainstream. A billionaire worth $300 billion. A medical procedure will never put him in debt. A medical procedure will never make him go bankrupt. His kids, times 100, times 1,000 will all be able to get educated. They'll all be able to go to college without having to worry about student loans. Ketamine Karen here goes on to Fox News and says, I'm a victim. They victimize me. Why is Tim Waltz so mean to me? I mean, give me a fucking break. The goal of the left is to destroy my influence, not just you, but your oligarch class, the influence of all of you. So they relentlessly push negative propaganda about me, like the fake Nazi stuff. The fake Nazi stuff? You mean this? There's video, moron! You never denied it. In fact, the next day he went on and did some puns about it, which you got in more trouble about. And then that same week, he was a special guest talker at the neo-Nazi, parties rally in Germany. Fake Nazi stuff. And they ignore anything positive. There's nothing positive about you. The only thing positive about you, you're just like AIDS. All right? Elon Musk is AIDS. So if you want something positive, then yes, we're all positive with you. The man who is trying to instill techno-feudalism, who wants us to have to rent everything from the oligarchs, is calling us evil, unelected. And he's doing this illegal shit again. Elon Musk doled out 2 giant $1 million checks to a rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin, openly aimed at boosting Republican turnout in the state's crucial Supreme Court race. Musk, now a top advisor, sure, to the president, the de facto president, told the crowd he'd pay supporters $20. George Soros, deep state. He'd pay supporters $20 for every vote they recruited ahead of Tuesday's election. At least Citizens United has some kind of process. This is the world's richest man handing out money in exchange for votes. He warned conservatives that we are actually in serious danger of losing the election. We got to pull a rabbit out of a hat. I guess that's buying an election. That's what you call it. You see, Elon's in trouble in Wisconsin. So he needs this judge in there to get rid of his lawsuits. This is corruption at literally the highest level. And as forementioned, all you have to do is put this carrot in front of these morons, in front of this Republican fascist party, in front of MAGA, and they'll just turn out thinking, I think they're still asking, right? I saw someone ask, when are we going to get our Doge check?
Do you have any information on when Doge checks would be written or sent out?
Sure. Well, I guess we need to be successful at scale. We've made a lot of progress, but there's still a tremendous amount of work to do. Effectively, as government spending is made more efficient and spending is reduced, the tax by inflation is reduced.
Yeah, they'll be right on that. The same people that think a Doge check is coming think that this money was going to be for them, right? That they had a chance to win $1 million if they do this. But those suspicions grew when the $1 million winner turned out to be Nicholas Jacobs, the chair of the Wisconsin College Republicans. Probably just a coinky-dink. It was supposed to be you, Bubba. And this isn't the first time he pulled it. The $1 million he's given people to vote for Trump, in order to not get in trouble. In court, he argued his promised payout was never a legitimate lottery, essentially admitting it was a scam to motivate voters. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. We are here because the generations that knew the stakes of all this are gone. They've died out. Americans have been coddled. Their standard of living have made them soft. They've made them comfortable. These phones on top of it have made us dumb, have made us weak. My definition of a strong leader is someone with a plan for the future and the ability to articulate how to get there. But when you have people like Charlie Smallface, this townhouse mouth, I could see his entire upper floor in there. When you have him defining what an alpha male is in this, this society, this is what you end up with. And let's go back to this.
White House, in a phone interview with NBC, Trump saying, quote, there are methods which you could do it, including...
So Trump is saying there are methods in which he could get a third term. But let me tell you something. If somehow Trump does make it through the next 4 years and he's still upright, right? And he's looking for these methods to stay in power. There is a method. There is a remedy. There is a cure. And it's written out. It's written out what we do with people like this. I'm not going to say it on YouTube, but it's in the Declaration of Independence. The Chud Report. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the video. Give it an upvote. Share with your friends. Thank you to the members. Yeah, that's all I got for you today. stop leaving yourself vulnerable to data breaches of brokers, go to my sponsor right here, Aura.com. Put the Chud report in just like this, or click on the little box. You guys know what to do. You get a 14-day free trial and see if any of your data has been exposed. One of my closest friends, Dave. Dave, if you're listening, open your ears. He hadn't signed up for today's sponsor, Aura, yet. And he told me his data is the least protected it's ever been. He's getting bombarded by scammers trying to get his two-factor authentication digits. You guys might have seen this. This is a new thing where they just try to bombard you until they get that two-factor authentication. Then Dave asked if I ever Googled myself, and I said, buddy, have you even watched my show? This administration has gutted all regulations. If you're not an oligarch, your problems don't matter. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, shuttered. It's gone. So Dave, everybody else out here, my extended family, the subscribers on this channel, if you want someone to watch your back, if you want someone who actually cares and thinks about your data problems, thinks they matter, you need Aura, like yesterday. Aura will continuously monitor the dark web and alert me if they find my personal information exposed, which they do every day. They're going to let me know if anyone tries to use this information to access my credit or bank accounts. Aura has never been more essential to protecting myself from straight up malicious attacks all the way down to those annoying scam calls, right? Or identifies data brokers who are selling my information and submits opt-out requests on my behalf, nipping a boatload of these scammers right in the bud, or the butt, however you say it. Plus, and listen to this, in this day and age, I've never heard a company be so confident in their product, they'll give me up to $5 million. That's $5 million with an M. In identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. And I'll tell you what, the worst case scenario is not me getting $5 million. So Dave, I see you out there, and everyone else, give Aura just a couple weeks. Try it out, and you'll stop seeing your info plastered all over these sketchy sites, which means less scam, less risk, more peace of mind. You can go to my link right here to try 14 days for free. That'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data has been exposed.